The former AEW Women's World Champion Saraya is no longer with AEW. The news broke after Saraya did an interview that has not completely dropped yet with Entertainment Weekly. She also quote retweeted the article saying that it's mutual, but she loved her time in AEW and had such a blast with the girls there, saying that she'll hold it in a special place in her heart. Tony Khan was great, AEW was great, and that she feels lucky to have been part of the family for a couple of years, saying, "Here's to 2025, WTF am I going to get myself into now?" Saraya made her AEW debut back in November 19th, 2022. However, since October, she pretty much been on hiatus and we hadn't seen anything from her on AEW. In fact, her last match was October 8th, 2024, which was 169 days ago now. You may be wondering what happened with Saraya and AEW. Well, according to Saraya, the parting was mutual. And also, Entertainment Weekly did release a couple of quotes that gave us a little bit more insight. Saraya basically saying that she felt like there wasn't a spot for her in AEW and doesn't think that there's much for her to do in wrestling at the moment, but that she leaves the door open for an AEW return in the future. Additionally, during a couple of media interviews, Saraya was asked about whether or not she would return to WWE. Of course, that is where she made her mainstream wrestling mark, wrestling as Paige. Saraya did say that she is open to a future in WWE. Now let's talk about Saraya's time in AEW because, like I said, she had been there since 2022 all the way through till now, which is a good amount of time. However, it doesn't ever feel like Saraya had a lot going on at one time on the show. While she did have several little stories here and there, mostly towards the beginning of her time with AEW, it didn't seem like there was an actual spot for Saraya on the actual show. Her first and I would say biggest feud was when she came right into the company and she went at it with Britt Baker. Now, remember that during this time, people had mixed reviews about how they felt about Saraya, particularly in her promos. Now, during this time, Britt Baker was being heavily cheered for and she was very popular. Another person we really haven't seen too much of on AEW, but that's for a different topic, different video, different time. And so Saraya kicked off this feud with Britt Baker. And I remember being really happy for Saraya because, hey, this was her return to pro wrestling. Unfortunately, after her neck injury, it didn't seem like she would ever return to pro wrestling, which is obviously her heart and her passion and her and everything that she loves. So it's very sad to see that happen to her. So for her coming back to pro wrestling and having this opportunity with AEW, I thought was really freaking cool because I thought, damn, nobody thought that they would see her wrestle again. However, when it came to the promos, though, the AEW fans didn't seem to fully get behind Saraya. If I recall correctly, the fans didn't really connect with the message of what she was saying, like when she would go out there and call AEW her home, and that didn't really seem to apply to her. And there was also some other little tidbits that were thrown during promos that just did not resonate with the crowd. However, she did defeat Britt Baker in a singles match at AEW Full Gear 2022, being a massive victory for her. And Saraya did share how she felt performing in her first big match back to pro wrestling in this Full Gear press conference. Check out this clip.
By the time I was going, I was like, thank gosh. But no, walking out, I was the most nervous I've ever been in my career because I want to give 100%. And I know in AEW, I felt like I had to step up my wrestling game, you know, because I feel like the caliber of AEW women's wrestling is just so high. And I'm like, man, we have Tony and we have Jamie Hayter on the show today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, please go before them, you know, because they're just so good. All the women here are so good. So yeah, I had a lot of emotions like, man, I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want to let Tony down. You know, he's giving me this opportunity and I'm so happy. But we got through it. And once we got done, I was like, okay, I can like relax for a second, you know. But yeah, I'm just over the moon. I can't believe I had my first match back. I never thought this would happen in my life.
She also noted that Britt Baker had to carry her in the match.
Britt, again, was the first ever signee here in AEW. She has built this division, so I totally understand that. And yeah, I was an outsider coming in, but it was just more between me and Britt. It was just such a special moment for us two. You know, I'm stepping out of character a little bit here, but I just feel like with Britt, she really carried me throughout this whole thing. Like truly, like she's an absolute pro. Like I was rusty when it came to promos, and I felt like we delivered a really good in-ring promo. And then the next week, she just did this beautiful baby face where I was like, oh man, this is gonna be tough. That's why I was just like, with me and her, there's no real heel and face. You just cheer for who you want to cheer for. You either cheer for the homegrown talent or you cheer for the girl that comes back from a career-ending injury.
According to AEWresults.com, Saraya made a total of 27 appearances in AEW. I do have to mention her biggest moment on AEW, which was All In. Saraya defeated Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida, and Toni Storm to win the Women's AEW World Championship at the All In pay-per-view at Wembley Stadium in August of 2023. That was Saraya's first world title in nearly 9 years, and she did successfully defend her AEW Women's World Championship against Toni Storm on AEW Grand Slam shortly thereafter. However, Saraya did lose the title to Shida quickly thereafter on the October 10th episode of Dynamite Title Tuesday, ending her reign at 44 days. Here's what Saraya had to say about winning and becoming the AEW Women's World Champion in her home country.
Absolutely incredible, and I'm appreciative that I got this moment here in the UK, and it's awesome having my whole family here. Like, you got Queen and everything. I was like, bloody hell. It was just really, really cool, and just the process of it, I never thought I was ever going to wrestle again. That was it. They said, you will never wrestle again. WWE cut ties with any kind of doctors and was like, we're not going to check you anymore. So I was kind of in limbo for 5 years. And I never kind of hit rock bottom with it. I kept in a very positive mindset. When I got the call from Tony, he was just like, let's try this. He just seemed so positive and awesome. And I was like, man, I want to kick some ass, you know. I started training more, getting in the gym. I was working out every single day. I started watching AEW religiously every single day. I was like, this is so cool. And I already wanted to be a part of it so bad. It's just been a crazy journey. I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I would be in Wembley Stadium in the biggest crowd in wrestling history. I mean, it's just a dream come true, and I'm so thankful.
Saraya was also part of the Outcast in AEW. However, the group never really got its groove. And really, since then, it's just been sporadic appearances for Saraya. So even though it's unfortunate that her time in AEW ended, I don't think that many AEW fans are too surprised that it did end. Saraya is now a published author with her memoir, Hell in Boots, Clawing My Way Through 9 Lives, which was released yesterday. She is pursuing acting roles and is launching a new podcast called Rule Breakers this week. The first 2 episodes will debut on Thursday. So we'll probably get some more juicy little stories or whatnot when that podcast does drop. Wishing Saraya the very best in her future. But before we wrap up this video, if you are sad that Saraya is exiting, we do have someone that is entering AEW. And that, my friends, is Mina Shirakawa. Mina Shirakawa is headed to All Elite Wrestling. At a press conference on Wednesday, Mina confirmed reports that her contract with Stardom expires at the end of the month. However, she will continue to wrestle for the promotion throughout much of April, concluding with Stardom American Dream in 2025, which takes place in Las Vegas. Mina Shirakawa announced that she will join AEW after leaving Stardom, saying that this marks the start of her challenge to compete on the world stage, which has been her goal since her debut. Mina, of course, thanked Stardom, her co-workers, and her fans for supporting her during her time in the promotion, which began in 2020. She said she hopes to reunite with Stardom somewhere down the line and show fans an improved version of herself. And if you're on this channel, chances are you do love Mina. I did do an interview with Mina, and she did share with me some of her dream matches in AEW, and who knows, maybe some of them will happen.
AEW has many talented wrestlers. Oh, they are so beautiful and they are so strong, very strong. Shida, yeah, Shida, my senpai, yeah, Japanese style culture. So I have never wrestled her in Japan. So in America, I want to wrestle her. Yeah, so many dreams. In AW, yeah, here, yes.
On top of that, fans have loved Mina so far based off of what we've seen from her in AEW, and many of them even want her to become AEW Women's World Champion. Here's what she thinks about that.
What does it mean to you, the fact that you have gotten so popular in AEW that fans want to see you as the women's champion?
Yeah, so I have been a champion in Japan and I have been a champion in the UK, but I have not been a champion in the US. So, yeah, I should be a champion in the US, and I truly believe Japanese Joshi wrestling skill is so good, so fantastic. So it's my mission to show our skill to AEW fans. So I show my skill and I take the belt and I will be the top on the AEW. It's my dream.
Alrighty, guys. Well, one story in AEW is ending, another one is beginning. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on both of these in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more just like it, also let me know in the comments. Also, if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And may I recommend this video right here, because this is the video that I think you should watch and YouTube thinks you should watch too. Thank you guys so much. Catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.